She was never meant to see peace, engineered for one purpose only, to fight and die in a war her kind didn't start. Her body was flawless, powerful, created for destruction, but her soul was left untouched, quiet, waiting. When the battles ended and the silence fell, she was discarded like the rest. But one human didn't see a weapon when he found her buried in the ruins. He saw a life worth saving. A girl who had never been held without orders, never been spoken to without command. He didn't fix her, he simply stayed. And in his arms, for the first time, she didn't need to survive. She only needed to be. She was never meant to see peace, engineered for one purpose only, to fight and die in a war her kind didn't start. Her body was flawless, powerful, created for destruction, but her soul was left untouched, quiet, waiting. When the battles ended and the silence fell, she was discarded like the rest. But one human didn't see a weapon when he found her buried in the ruins. He saw a life worth saving. A girl who had never been held without orders, never been spoken to without command. He didn't fix her, he simply stayed. And in his arms, for the first time, she didn't need to survive. She only needed to be. She was born in a lab made of fire and silence, birthed not from love, but from war. Her body was forged from genetic perfection, skin like deep cobalt marble, smooth and unscarred only because it healed too fast to mark. Her muscles were honed for speed, precision, power. Her long ears and horned crown made her elegant, alien, almost divine. But to the architects who created her, she was nothing more than an asset. An expendable miracle. She never had a name, just a designation. Variant 6. She never had a birthday, just an activation timestamp. And she never had a future, only deployment orders. They dropped her into fire zones. She learned to kill before she ever spoke. Her orders were programmed deep: suppress, defend, execute, fall back. She obeyed like a machine. Every time she survived a battlefield, they upgraded her, tweaked her reflexes, reinforced her bones. But they never asked her how it felt. They didn't want her to feel. Emotion was inefficient. Then the war ended. Not with victory, not with peace, just exhaustion. The enemy vanished. The planets burned. The money ran out. And like all the others who were made instead of born, Variant 6 was decommissioned, buried, left behind. She awoke beneath rubble on a forgotten moon, system sparking, spine flickering with pale blue light. Her breath was shallow, lungs dry. Her body functioned, but her soul, if it had ever been hers, was silent. No orders, no voices, no purpose. So she waited. He found her during a salvage sweep. Elias Kale wasn't a soldier anymore. He wasn't even supposed to be on that moon. Just a mechanic on a contracted cleanup crew. They'd come to strip old battlefields for rare metals, weapon cores, anything that could be sold off-world. He wasn't looking for survivors. But something stopped him. A glint beneath the collapsed bunker wall. A figure, barely visible, curled like a child. When he pulled her out, she didn't fight. Her skin was ice cold. Her frame heavier than expected. Her armor was cracked, but she still wore the faded insignia of a force that no longer existed. She stared at him, not with fear, not even confusion. Just vacancy. "Hey," he whispered, brushing dust from her cheek. "You're alive." She blinked once, slowly. Then her voice came, flat, soft. Awaiting directive. He shook his head. No directive. Not anymore. He carried her back himself. His crew thought he was crazy. She could be dangerous. Malfunctioning. A sleeper weapon. But Elias didn't see a threat. He saw someone left behind. She didn't speak much at first. Didn't move unless prompted. But she responded to kindness in a way that was quiet. When Elias brought her food, she looked at it for a long time before eating. When he offered her a cot instead of the floor, she stared at it like it was something mythical. She didn't smile. She didn't thank him. But she sat on the edge carefully, as if the softness might vanish. He called her Vera. Just something to replace the number. She didn't object. Days passed. Then weeks. Her wounds healed. Her armor cleaned. She started walking through the base on her own. People avoided her. Whispers followed her down hallways. Weapon. Ghost. Monster. She didn't flinch. But Elias noticed how she began sleeping curled toward the wall. How her hands clenched at night. One evening, he found her on the roof, sitting beneath the stars. "You okay?" he asked. She didn't look at him. "I was built to serve. To fight. There is no war now." He sat beside her, arms draped over his knees. "Maybe you were never meant to keep fighting. My kind were not made to last. We were made to die efficiently. To win quickly. Looks like you failed at dying, he said gently. You've got time to figure out what else you're good at. She turned to him then, slow, deliberate. Her eyes caught starlight. I do not know what I am without war. Elias reached out, brushing a loose strand of her white hair behind her long ear. You're Vera. And maybe that's enough for now. That night, she dreamt. Not of combat simulations. Not of kill zones or targets. But of touch. Of warmth. Of breath. She woke up crying, but she didn't know why. Weeks later, the crew was attacked. Pirates, scavengers looking for tech and slaves. Elias was caught in the blast. His arm mangled. The others fled. Vera didn't. She tore through the invaders like lightning. Her body remembered violence. But this time, it wasn't programming. It was choice. When it was over, she knelt beside Elias, hands shaking as she pressed cloth to his wound. I wasn't fast enough, she whispered. He laughed, bloody pain, but real. You stayed. That's more than I expected from anyone. She lowered her head. I was afraid. He reached up with his good hand and touched her jaw. That means you're alive. From then on, she changed. Slowly. She smiled once, barely. She asked questions. She laughed when Elias dropped a tool on his foot and cursed so creatively it startled her. And one night, beneath the stars again, she leaned against him. You could have left me there, she said. I know. Why didn't you? Because I don't care what you were made for. She looked up at him, eyes shining. I care about who you're becoming. She closed her eyes, rested her head on his shoulder. She was never built to survive the war, but now she was surviving everything else.